Shūsuke Amagai, a member of a group that hunts down hollows, is unanimously appointed by the 13 court guard squads as the new captain of the 3rd Division. He appoints Makoto Kibune as his 3rd seat officer. However, Amagai and Kibune are not well received by the 3rd Division members. On the suggestion of 10th Division Lieutenant Rangiku Matsumoto, Izuru Kira, the 3rd Division Lieutenant, holds a welcoming party for Amagai, but Amagai collapses after one drink due to his low tolerance for alcohol. Jillians invade the Dangai, the dimension between the Soul Society and the human world, and the 3rd Division is ordered to destroy them. While fighting the Hollows, the Kototsu, the cleanser of the dimension, somehow gets called in, leaving the 3rd Division in a race to escape before being cleansed. During their escape, Amagai appears, and with a last-minute rescue, destroys the Kototsu with ease. Then, once they have calmed from their near-death experience, they find out that Amagai is actually still drunk. Rurichio Kasumiōji, a young princess of the Soul Society nobility, and her Soul Reaper assistants, Ryusei, Kenryū, Kenzaki, and Ruzaburo, Enryu, and Kogawa travel to Karakura town to acquire sweets for Rurichio. Kenryū and Enryu leave, and Rurichio starts to wander the town. Meanwhile, Ichigo Kurosaki and Rukia Kuchiki are alerted to an abnormal amount of hollow sightings. Ichigo encounters Rurichio, who asks him for sweets and is attacked by hollows. As Kenryū and Enryu take Rurichio away, Ichigo uses his Bankai to defeat the hollows, impressing Kenryū and Enryu. The following day, they move into the house adjacent to Ichigo, becoming students at his school. Ichigo repeatedly asks Kenryū and Enryu why Rurichio is in the real world, and they refuse to answer him. That evening, an assassin arrives at Rurichio's home. The assassin uses a weapon with a mirror that reflects the moonlight to stun Ichigo and nearly kills him. Ichigo uses his sword to reflect the moonlight against the assassin on his second try, and rather than be questioned, the assassin allows himself to be killed when Ichigo uses his Getsuga Tensho. Afterward, Kenryū reveals that Rurichio is the heir to the noble Kasumiōji clan. He further explains that Gyokaku Kumoi, one of caretakers serving the Kasumiōji clan, has been attempting to take control of the clan by killing Rurichio. Under pressure from Rukia, Ichigo agrees to protect Rurichio. Ichigo and Rukia take Rurichio through the town, and they later have dinner at Ichigo's house. After Ichigo starts an argument with Rurichio over her refusal to eat carrots, he accidentally reveals that Kenryū and Enryu hired him as a bodyguard. Furious, Rurichio runs towards the river where she meets Orihime Inoue. They are attacked by an assassin wielding a guandao, who can fire energy blasts that solidify into rock walls. Ichigo, Rukia, Kenryū, and Enryu arrive. Kenryū uses his Shikai to immobilize the assassin, allowing Ichigo to defeat him. However, the assassin commits suicide by collapsing a rock wall on himself. After the group leaves, Kumoi's head assassin, Hanza Nukui, retrieves the dead assassin's weapon. The next morning, Kenryū and Enryu realize that Rurichio is missing. Amagai orders the 3rd Division to perform several menial missions and training exercises to build trust within the division members. One evening, Kira and Kibune investigate an old execution ground with division member Shinta Siko. The three fall into the execution pit, which is filled with caged hollows. Kira and Kibune easily defeat the hollows, but one of the hollows manages to absorb Shinta. When Kibune attempts to kill the hollow with Shinta, Kira stops his attack, and Kibune states that Shinta's lack of skill is the reason he should die. Amagai arrives and reveals that he created the entire affair. The following morning, Rurichio enters the Kasumiōji family household. Kumoi discovers that Rurichio has entered the household and orders Hanza to kill her. Ichigo, Rukia, Kenryū, and Enryu arrive in the compound and separate to find her. Kenryū and Enryu are then locked in a storehouse by Kumoi, while Rukia encounters 11th Division Captain Kenpachi Zaraki. He realizes that Ichigo is present and goes to find him, as Ichigo eventually finds Rurichio. However, Ichigo is forced to evade the guards, losing track of her. Rukia is attacked by one of her child servants, later revealed as an assassin. Zaraki arrives to intervene and kills the assassin, and Rukia later asks Zaraki to keep the incident a secret. Watching from a distance, Hanza tries to frighten Ichigo by releasing his spiritual pressure, but is surprised when Ichigo is unperturbed. In Karakura town, Kisuke Urahara finds that there has been a shortage of a type of spirit particles and theorizes that this is linked to the activities of the Kasumiōji clan. Kamui sends Hanza and a dozen assassins to kill Ichigo, his friends, and Rukia. Hanza fights Ichigo using the mirror weapon an assassin previously used against Ichigo, known as Saiga, is stronger by feeding on his spiritual energy. Hanza traps Ichigo in a separate dimension using Saiga. Ichigo is freed by Yoruichi Shihoin, who reveals that the remaining assassins have been defeated. The following day, Kamui installs Rurikyo's fiancé Shūsuke as the head of the clan. Having failed in his previous attempt to kill Rurikyo, Hanza gathers 3 of his subordinates from the criminal underground and requests that they be given weapons similar to Saiga. In Karakura town, Rurikyo tells Ichigo that others would frequently be blamed for her reckless actions, including Kenryū and Enryū. Sensing the arrival of Hanza and his subordinates, Ichigo and Rukia stay to protect Rurikyo, while Uryu Ishida and Yasutora, Chad, Sato, leave to confront their attackers. Rukia's opponent, Jinai Doko, reveals that the unique blades the assassins are using are called bakoto, swords that consume the user's spiritual energy to increase their strength. Jinai eats his bakoto to increase his power and fire blades from his back. Uryu fights Kuzuryu, who uses his bakoto to transform into mist. Chad fights Genba, who uses the same rock wall-forming bakoto a previous assassin used. Chad repeatedly destroys the walls with his energy blasts, but Genba fuses with the walls to attack Chad from behind. Rukia uses Kido to restrain Jinai and freezes him with her Shikai. He breaks free from the ice, but is consumed by his bakoto when it draws too much energy from him. Uryu realizes that Kuzuryu is using his bakoto to fuse with the surrounding mist, and uses Sprenger to defeat him. However, Uryu is caught in the blast radius and is injured. Chad destroys the surrounding walls to stop Genba's attacks, and in a clash between the strongest attacks of the combatants, Chad is victorious. Ichigo fights Hanza, and using the enhanced speed from his Bankai, breaks Saiga's mirror. In response, Hanza uses one of Saiga's abilities to engulfs Ichigo in light from the shards of the mirror. Sealed inside a different dimension, Ichigo is forced to relive his childhood and his mother's death. Reflecting Ichigo's guilt for being unable to save his mother, the image of Ichigo's mother tries to kill him. Ichigo manages to break free of the dimension by making peace with his mother. Ichigo dons his hollow mask and overwhelms Hanza, forcing him to allow his bakoto to absorb more of his energy. However, Hanza is consumed by his bakoto, ignoring Ichigo's pleas to stop. Meanwhile, in the Soul Society, Kira covertly follows Kibune to the Kasumiōji compound, where Kuzuryu returns to report the death of his comrades to Kamui. In response, Kamui orders Kibune to kill him. Amagai proposes joint training between the squads of the 13 court guard squads, citing the attack of the cleaners against his squad, but his request is denied. That night, Kira confronts Kibune for entering the Kasumiōji compound, and Kibune denies he did so. An alarm activates shortly afterwards, revealing that there are hollows in the Seiraite. Despite Kira's orders, the 3rd Division members follow Kibune to attack the hollows. The various squads fail to reach the hollows due to the lack of coordination between them. Amagai takes control of the situation and coordinates the squads in destroying the hollows. Elsewhere, Genryūsai Shigekuni Yamamoto, the 1st Division captain, reveals that he orchestrated the attack to test Amagai. Kamui schedules Rurikyo's wedding for the following day, and Kenryū and Enryū realize that he will replace her with an imposter if Rurikyo does not return for the wedding. Ichigo goes to speak with Rurochio, who reveals that she knew about the true goal of the assassins and Kumoi's connection to them. She escapes into the Soul Society, intending to participate in the marriage to keep Kumoi in line. However, when she arrives on the other side, her eyes have gone blank and she expresses no desire to leave. Ichigo, Rukia, Kenryū, and Enryū attempt to follow them, but are unable to reach Rurochio, as Kenryū and Enryū have been blamed for kidnapping her. On the day of the wedding, the four enter the compound to retrieve Rurochio, but 2nd Division Captain Sui Feng and several members of the 2nd Division surround them, and Rurochio does not respond to Ichigo's calls to her. Enryū uses his Shikai to destroy the building, and in the confusion, Ichigo reaches Rurochio. Revealing Kumoi's intention to gain control of the clan to Shu, Ichigo is attacked by Rurochio, who is revealed as an imposter. Sui Feng begins to fight Ichigo, allowing Rurochio and Kumoi to escape. Kenryū and Enryū are captured by the 2nd Division members, and Ichigo and Rukia escape with Shu's help. The three decide to escape by having Shu pose as a hostage. In response, Yamamoto orders a manhunt for Ichigo and Rukia. When Sui Feng voices doubts concerning Kumoi's intentions to Yamamoto, he merely agrees to take them under consideration. Kira voices his suspicions on Kibune's recent actions and relations to the Kasumiōji family to Amagai, who asks Kira to observe Kibune. The 2nd and 3rd Divisions begin to guard the Kasumiōji compound, and Sui Feng returns Kenryū and Enryū to the Kasumiōji clan at Yamamoto's order. Elsewhere, the real Rurochio is imprisoned by Kumoi's assassins and visited by Kibune. The following morning, 6th Division Lieutenant Renji Abarai asks his captain, Byakuya Kuchiki, if he is worried that Rukia is being pursued. After Byakuya denies that he is, he gives control of the search party to Renji. Ichigo, Rukia, and Shu decide to rescue Rurochio, but are attacked by Amagai, who uses his Shikai against Ichigo. Shu stops the battle, revealing the truth of Kumoi's intentions to Amagai, who agrees to help them. For helping Ichigo, Amagai is branded a traitor by Yamamoto, who orders him to be hunted as well. Meanwhile, Renji and Ikkaku Madarame begin to fight Lieutenants Tetsuzaemon Iba and Shuhei Hisagi respectively over their differences concerning Ichigo and Rukia's actions. Kira enters the Kasumiōji compound and finds Rurochio and is attacked by several assassins. Although he defeats all of them, one of the assassins escapes with Rurochio, and Kibune arrives to fight him. Despite the patrols of the 13 court guard squads, Ichigo, Rukia, Amagai, and Shu manage to make contact with the 3rd Division members and head towards the training grounds of the 3rd Division, which was Rurochio's last known location. Kira begins to fight Kibune, and initially gains the advantage by using his Shikai to increase the weight of Kibune's Zanpakuto. Kibune uses his Bakoto to negate Kira's Shikai. Discussing his past, Kibune reveals that he was ostracized in the 13 court guard squads for not protecting his weaker division members during missions, and assigned to squads specialized in hunting down hollows as a result. He states that the Bakoto will give him enough power to gain respect from the 13 court guard squads. Kira realizes that Kibune is using his Bakoto to negate his Shikai, and he manages to exhaust Kibune, enabling him to use his Shikai to increase the weight of Kibune's Zanpakuto. Kibune attempts to draw on more power from his Bakoto, but is consumed in the process. Ichigo and Amagai pursue a pair of assassins with Rurochio and discover that the Rurochio they are carrying is a fake. They return to the arena where Kira reveals Kibune's association with Kumoi. Ichigo, Rukia, Amagai, and Shu head to the Kasumiōji compound, which 10th Division Captain Toshiro Hitsugaya is guarding. Amagai fights Hitsugaya, and Rukia fights Rangiku, as Ichigo and Shu enter the compound. Elsewhere, Yamamoto orders that the 13 court guard squads attack the Kasumiōji compound after seeing the Bakoto brought by Renji. Hitsugaya and Rangiku stop fighting after they hear the order to attack the Kasumiōji clan, and the remaining divisions attack the compound. Yamamoto reveals that he suspected the crimes of the Kasumiōji clan, but could not act until Ichigo revealed concrete evidence of their crimes. Kumoi, incensed about the attack, sends all of his assassins against the attacking Soul Reapers. Rukia and Shū find Kumoi, who is using Rurichio as a hostage. Amagai arrives, kills Kumoi, and teleports to Yamamoto's location with Rurichio. Amagai reveals that he orchestrated the events surrounding the Kasumiōji clan and desired revenge against Yamamoto for killing his father, Shinetsu Kisaragi. He further accuses Yamamoto for allowing the Kasumiōji clan to create Bakuto, declaring that he dedicated his life to killing Yamamoto. Yamamoto uses his Shikai, but Amagai uses his Bakuto to negate his attack. Amagai uses his Bankai, and Ichigo arrives to fight him. Ichigo begins to fight Amagai, but due to Amagai's Bakuto, he has difficulty in fighting at full strength. Ichigo dons his hollow mask to increase his power, as Amagai's Bakuto cannot negate his hollow powers. Amagai begins to attack Ichigo's mask, and Ichigo manages to hit Amagai with his Getsuga Tensho. Injured, Amagai declares that he is willing to die for his revenge and starts to draw more power from his Bakuto. Amagai manages to regain control of himself after overusing his Bakuto, and Ichigo defeats him. Undeterred, Amagai stabs Yamamoto, who is unharmed by the attack. Yoruichi and various captains and lieutenants arrive, revealing to Amagai that Yamamoto ordered Amagai's father, Kisaragi, to investigate the Kasumiōji clan's Bakuto. It is explained that Kumoi used a Bakuto to control Kisaragi, and Yamamoto was forced to kill him. Upon learning this, Amagai forgives Yamamoto and, to repent for his deeds, uses his Zanpakuto to self-immolate. Before he dies, he apologizes to Kira. Later, Rurichio and Shū thank Ichigo for his aid, and Rurichio takes her position as the head of the Kasumiōji clan.